we're in the information age. You can't hide all this stuff anymore. Using fake, false carbon dating, trying to lie about stuff and hide and cover up stuff. Matter of fact, the very theory or formula that they use for carbon dating is flawed within itself. It's all based upon theory, and theory is all a guess. There's nothing factual about theory. Theory is all guess. We can, well, because this happened and this happened, we can assume that it is a result of this. And that's an educational guess. A guess is not, no. You can't guess when it comes to people's lives. You gotta actually know or not know. And I would rather someone say I don't know than to guess. All right. So the chances are you really are one of your forefathers go back to this people. And being that you're Scottish, it's either Judah, Benjamin, or Levi. Her dad's name is Benjamin. So yeah, so you're either from one of these tribes. Your father, because you are who your father is. It's got nothing to do with the mother. All right, your mother more than likely probably she might be an Edomite, or a real Edomite, and hey, ain't nothing you can do about that. But it seems to me, just through the spirit and through what has happened, what has conspired, that you're one of those people who are the confusion of face, just like the brother here. All right, meaning that you're not what you appear to be. All right, and that's a get that in the scriptures, and that's a complaint that the Israelites had. They were complaining that unto us belong the confusion of face. Why? Because they got scattered. They got scattered to the four corners of the earth, and they got sold into slavery into every nation, and now they don't look like what we described when we were reading. When we read about the descriptions, brothers, pull back.
Everybody pull back.
Yeah, he don't want to come up. He'll get cut up. The scriptures will rip him apart. We'll actually show you how much that he really don't know about the scriptures. All right? Go ahead.
This is Daniel 9:8. Oh Lord, to us belongs confusion of face.
We go back up a little more.
Verse 7?
Yeah.
Oh Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee.
Right, so righteousness belongeth unto the Lord. You got a question, come on around. We'll address it, man.
But unto us, confusion of face.
But unto us, the confusion of face. If you get, okay, let's put it this way. If this man had a son with this woman, I'm gonna sue you with him. Are you guys together?
We're friends.
Well, okay, but let's just say that they weren't friends. Let's say that this was his woman, all right, and they had sons, all right. If their sons got sent into 4 different countries, all right. One son got sent to China, okay. One son got sent to Jamaica, and the other 2 sons got sent to let's say Yemen, all right. 3, 4, 5 generations later. All right, so we're talking 3, 4, 5 generations. He's dead and gone, but his seed lives on through the men that have come out of there. So these sons have more sons, have more sons, have more sons. So 5 generations through his sperm line, which is still alive, because you got some guy in China that can trace himself, who has a picture of his 5 times separated great grandfather who looks like Macklemore. All right, because you do kind of look like Macklemore. All right, so he's got this picture. This is my granddad. All right, but he looks straight up like a Chinese dude. All right, so that I just answered the question for you. 5 generations. What is your son who went to China and stayed in China and started making children, and his children? What do they look like now? It's pretty simple, right? Your son in Jamaica. All of a sudden, you're looking at him. That's the confusion of face, and that is not acknowledged in this society.
So your
at all.
understanding of descent and of
It's through the sperm of the father.
It's strictly
according to the Bible. If you're not going according to the Bible, then we're not dealing with it. Right, according to the Bible, think about it like this. If you in an army of men like you, when across the street, this side of the street represents a land, all right? And everybody in this land looks like you, all right? And you go over to across the street to that land, and all the people look like her, all right? And when your conquering army go over there and wins, and you get your spoils and your booty of war, the women belong to you now, all right? One of the payments to your men is they get to have the women, all right? So these children some of them are gonna look like them. Matter of fact, probably the majority of them. But their line, their spirit, their very soul goes back to your people. So that is something referred to as a confusion of face, because basically those people would just be chocolate-covered Edomites. They still would be Edom. the Edomites the Bible speaks of, but they're no longer red. Can I get the red sign again?
Diana Ross doing.
You were talking about that the generations thing. I mean, this is my grandpa when he was a kid, you know. And I'm only, you know, 2 generations down. If I, you know, pop the white woman, my son popped the white woman, that kid's gonna look, you know,
right,
straight up cracker.
Yeah, and if he goes out and gets him a good-looking Edomite woman and has babies with her, his children are gonna look like Edom. So that is the confusion of face, and no one is acknowledging that today. So you got, guess what? You got millions of so-called black people running around here who are really white because of what happened in slavery. Because the slave masters were out there in the slave quarters banging the slave women all the time. And the evidence of that is the whole, what happened with Jefferson. And all those Sally, what's her name? Sally Hemings, children that stepped forward, and now everyone that wants to acknowledge they really are the descendants of Jefferson now because they wanted to be so upward and pious. And our forefathers would never do that. Your forefathers were a bunch of damn rapists and murderers and thieves.
How is it related to America will soon be destroyed by fire?
How is it related? Because of those crimes that I'm speaking of. The Lord, the payment of that is required. The Lord requires that which is owed.
That's right.
And what's happening is that everybody's got nuclear missiles now. America's about to crash. 60 countries, I was explaining to them before you came up. Do you know what the AIIB is? Okay, the AIIB is a new banking system which has surpassed the American banking system, the IMF. All right, so 60 plus countries, major countries, are not using the American dollar anymore. So common sense would tell you if they're not using our money, what's gonna happen to the dollar? So America has to go to war to try to defend the dollar, to keep the dollar the reserve currency of the earth, because all the nations, including American allies, are now joining on to the AIIB. And that's why we're on the verge of war. You're on the verge of war over those islands in China that they're building up in the South China Sea. The thing that's going on in Donetsk, in the Ukraine, what's going on in Yemen, and of course the target has always been Iran. All right, 9/11 was an inside job. Yes, I said it because it was true. And it was all an excuse so we can go into Iraq. And they had a plan to go into 7 countries, to cause discourse in those countries, take over their governments, and the ultimate goal was to get into Iran. And when they mess with Iran, that's going to fulfill the prophecy of Ezekiel 38, and we can read that if you'd like to hear it, because it's pretty scary. And so yes, we are on a verge of total chaos in America. The dollar's about to crash, and you won't be able to walk your little cute self around pretty soon because these people out here going to snatch you up.
That's right.
There's going to be no food, no police, no air. It's going to be survival of the fittest, every man for himself. Your own neighbors are going to turn on you because for the lack of bread. That's in the scriptures, and that's what we're heading to, and that's what this message is really all about. But there's a lot of history and a lot of things we have to go into the history to prove who's really who.
Is there any hope?
There is no hope. I hate to tell you that. Actually, I don't really hate to tell you that. I just lied. So forgive me for that. Because I long to see this wicked place gone.
That's right.
And see the Lord come and make this earth clean. Look at all these chemtrails. Those aren't clouds. Matter of fact, that first one, it just dissipated. Remember that long stream one that was right over our head? It's gone, so it dissipated. So you see those right there? Those are not clouds, those are chemtrails.
So is your Lord in the Bible?
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a fresh one.
This is everything we read comes straight out of the Bible.
Is Jesus Christ?
Jesus, well, first of all, the letter J wasn't created until 1634. So there's no way on God's green earth that could possibly be his name. You can Google that. Get your fancy phone and Google. The letter J was not created until 1634. So Jesus is not his name, and neither is Yahweh, it's Yiddish. And the Lord didn't speak
Okay, so
Yiddish.
what's his name?
He spoke, Christ was not his name. Yahweh is Yiddish. All right? And so his name is not Yahweh. I'm just going to say the name is Yahweh Shai, which means he is the Savior in actual Hebrew.
Is Yahweh Shai the Savior for you?
He's the Savior yeah, he is for me. I don't know about you. I have to test your spirit because I think you're an Edomite, but you could not be because he's not the Lord over Edom. And we can prove that out of the Bible. Matter of fact, get Romans 9 and 13.
I got something.
No, get Romans 9 and 13.
This is Romans 9 and 13.
Right?
As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
So the God of the Bible hates Esau. And Esau is also, his name is also Edom, and he hates his children. Prove it. Get Hebrews 12. Get Malachi 1 and 4. Because the God is not all love. All right, he's coming back with an instrument of war in his hand. He said he's not going to greet thee as a man. All right, he's coming back and he's going to raise up 12,000 men from each one of these tribes. All right. So you ever seen the Avengers? You seen that? The Avengers is going to be real life, man. Break out your scripture, man. Get Hebrews 12.
We'll start the talk.
No, 12 and start at verse 16 and 17.
This is Hebrews 12 and 16.
Right?
Lest there be any fornicator or profane person
Are you listening? Go ahead.
Hebrews 12 and 16.
Right?
Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau,
Right?
who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright.
Do you know what profane means? Do you know what profane means? What does it mean?
You tell me, 'cause it's different than me.
Profane means outside of the covenant, basically. Roughly translated. It means you're outside of the blessings of the Lord. All right? So the Lord is not dealing with Esau. Go ahead. So so the Lord don't love everybody like they like to teach in the churches. Go ahead.
For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing,
Right?
he was rejected.
Right. So he's rejected. Go ahead.
For he found no place of repentance,
So Esau can't even repent. Go ahead.
though he sought it carefully with tears.
So even though he was crying and begging, the Lord turned his back on him because he's outside. He's cut off. Esau is cut off, and so the whole race of the Edomites.
Wasn't meant for him.
All right, good. Get Malachi, the first chapter. Hold up, let's get out. Hold up. Go ahead.
Malachi 1. I'm gonna start at 1. The burden of the word.
Are you keeping up with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, get Malachi.
Malachi 1 and 1. The burden of the word of the Lord to Israel
Right.
by Malachi.
Right?
I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us?
Right, because Israel had to go through all this. Through slavery. And all these people on the sign have gone through slavery and been cut off and discontinued from the heritage at the hand of Edom. All right, go ahead.
And it says, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother?
Right?
Saith the Lord. Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau.
So Paul was quoting the prophet. He was quoting Malachi when he said that in Hebrews, and when he said it in Romans. He was quoting the prophet Malachi. All right, go ahead.
and laid his mountains and his heritage waste,
Right,
for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places.
and they did. It was called the Renaissance. In the Renaissance, Edom came back into power because after they where's that sign with the tetrarchs on it? No, it's not it.
What do you think about all
you
of
looking
The sign with the tetrarchs on it. Here, this it. This one, the other one was better though. But here are the tetrarchs from the 4th century in Italy, in Rome. All right, because they ruled during the Dark Ages. That's why it was called the Dark Ages, because dark people was ruled. So racism covered that up. All right.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. So
Septimius Severus is from contemporary Yugoslavia.
no, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
Septimius Severus was actually born in Africa somewhere, but he wasn't an African. All right, he was an Israelite. All right, so he was not born. And even if he was during that time, Rome was being taken over by Israelites. Man, all the Caesars were becoming the Roman leaders were becoming Negroes at that time. All right, and that's the history that they cover up. That's why they did this. This was payback for destroying that precious Rome. And the Renaissance is when they built it
How
back
do you
up.
explain all the slavery today and all the people enslaved in the world all around the
There's
world?
no slavery like this slavery, and there never will be. Well, actually, there's going to be a worse slavery in the kingdom when it comes.
Oh yeah.
Worse slavery than there ever was.
Double
No, there's
baby.
no. Are you serious? Are you serious? Have you ever watched Goodbye Uncle Tom?
30 million people are.
Have you ever watched Goodbye Uncle Tom? No one's in the slave. No one's
Slavery
naked.
is illegal in every country for the
It's
first
got
time,
nothing to do
and
with
there's
it.
been
Well,
numerous number of slaves.
what people do you know where the whole race went into slavery? Where the whole race went through this? What other nation on the planet can claim that? And that is, and they said with yokes of iron, that's scriptures in the Bible that back this up. You have a yoke of iron around thy neck. That was promised to happen to the Israelites, man. To work for 400 plus years for free to build this up. The base of everything that this country, your banking system, the educational system where you can go learn false and fake education, all that was built up on the backs of these people, man. All right, and then they set up theology schools, and then they iconoclasm. They lied about every damn thing, and then they built it all up, and it was all off the backs of these people, man.
So you don't think nobody is enslaved in this world today?
That's not the point. The point being that the Lord is only concerned with Israel, and Edom and the other heathens put their hands on the Lord's chosen people, and now it's time for payment. And they know there's no way you can rationalize and talk your way out of that. The scriptures said what they're going to say. Matter of fact, go to Revelations 13th chapter, and let's get what happens in the end, what the Lord has to say about it. Because he says it's going to be on earth as it is in heaven. So the laws that apply in this book, including the law of slavery.
God bless you, sir. We gotta go.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Which God you talking
So
about?
but these people.
It's probably not even King James Version Bible.
Those are you. And they're
asking
going
about
to
slaves.
Yeah, you
right?
listen
And
to
I claim
Shay.
her personally. She gonna be mine. And she ain't gonna have no problem with it either, I promise you. Go ahead.
You said Revelation 13
From
something?
Revelation 13, 9 and 10, brother.
This is Revelation 13, verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear.
Right?
He that leadeth into captivity
Right.
shall go into captivity.
That's plain. Go ahead.
He that killeth with the sword,
What nation's blessing was the sword?
Esau.
Edom's. Their blessing was a sword, meaning that they were going to use a sword. They were going to violently take the control over the earth and control the earth until the end of days. And then the Lord was going to come and take them out of power. Finish.
He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
Must be killed with the sword. Go ahead.
Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
So that is what the saints of the Lord, the Israelites, are patiently waiting for. They're waiting to put in slavery the people that put them in slavery. So when Christopher Columbus came to the islands and did what he did to my people, the nation that he came from, they've never paid for that as a nation. So the Lord deals with the whole nation of people. All the Israelites didn't sin and break the laws. All of them didn't, but they all went into captivity. They got separated, scattered, didn't know who they were anymore, and then they got ruled over by the nation of Edom. Because the Edom, Esau and Jacob are the two main characters in the Bible. Period. Everybody else is just extras in God's movie. All right? All right? Yeah, you want to deal with what you think and feel, man. This is about what the Bible say. And you know what? And that's remember we talked about the 2/3? Those are Israelites right there. Those are our people. But 2/3 of our people, 2/3 of the people on this side are not. They're not gonna go with what the Bible says. They're gonna go. Where's Cesare?
We just had that.
Where's Cesare? They're gonna believe this until they die, and then they're gonna feel stupid when they found out the Lord don't look like that. Right? Because the Bible clearly tells you what the Lord looks like. Clear as the face, the nose on my face. All right, we already went through it. But people will hear that and they don't want to accept what's written in the Bible. Go ahead, brother.
Well, I'm just saying, Northern Kingdom makes up these 9 tribes. So the majority of the 2/3 are going to be Northern Kingdom.
That's right. Right. Exactly, because the biggest part of Israel is the Northern Kingdom, which me and this brother are part of.
That's why you see
and
a lot
they're
of
gonna be the
Southern Kingdom
biggest,
here.
and they're gonna be the biggest ones to reject the truth. It's written. That's written in the scriptures.
They love this.
They because they can't let go. They want to be this instead of who they really are. They don't accept that Judah is their brother, and it's also the head tribe, and it's also the tribe that the Lord came out of. And even in the scriptures tell you that. I'm not telling you anything about, this isn't about how I feel and what I think. This is what the Bible actually says. And when people hear it, you know, just like Father Fragrey just walked by. But you think he'd have stopped, man, we'd have embarrassed him. And see, guys like that, right, and on camera too, guys like that, because they can't contend with us with these scriptures because we know it better than them. We know this Bible better than your Catholic priests. All right, the Pope himself can stand here and contend in the scriptures with us because he'd have to walk away because he gets shamed and embarrassed because the scriptures would show differently than what he's pushing and what he's teaching.
He'd be shamefaced.
All right, he'd be shamefaced because he'd get called out because everything would come out his mouth the Bible would say opposite of, and that's the problem. People have a problem with what the Bible actually says.
And it's funny
they really have a problem with it.
It's funny you say that, because like I said, sometimes on the down low while I'm at the job, I'll catch one of them priests and whatnot. And like I said, hide my name tag so we can deal a little bit and pull my phone and embarrass them in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, because if you let them talk, they'll cut them. That's why that couple, the Bible couple, had to walk away because it was too hot in the kitchen. These scriptures, because they ain't never even heard these scriptures before. The scriptures we were bringing out, they never heard these scriptures before. Right, because they're not going to teach you scriptures like that in the church. They're going to teach you love, love, love. That's all high five and hug, and the Lord going to come back and give out Tootsie Rolls and bubble gum and everything's going to be okay. No, it's not. The society is going to fall. All right, the dollar's going to crash. It's going to be chaos in the streets. People going to be getting beat up, mugged, killed, raped.
That's right.
People are going to be eating people. Cannibalism is coming back. That's in the Bible. All right, because you seen how people act on Black Friday. Okay, so how much worse do you think they're going to act when there's no food on the shelves? Or when there's one store and you've got a crowd of 10,000 people in one store and everybody wants the food that's inside. What do you think's going to happen?
Purge.
All right? That movie, The Purge, is going to come real life, man. It's going to get ugly out here. And guess what? There's not enough police to help. Matter of fact, they ain't going to report to work on that day. Because they're going to be too busy trying to protect their own house.
Get their own house in order.
Not only that, they're going to be targets too.
That's right.
Because the prison gates are going to open up and they're going to have to deal with that prison population that hate them. Because there's gonna be no money left to keep them housed. So you're gonna have that happen over in overseas, in Syria and in Iraq. When all them wars went on, them prison gates opened up and all them inmates came out. All right? And the first thing that they was thinking about is pretty little women like you and getting revenge on whoever had them put in there. So this society is gonna be chaos. Get Daniel 12 and 1.
Deal with the scripture.
All right? Get Daniel 12 and 1. What you got?
Load up the scripture. Load up the scripture.
That's not even apply.
This is Amos chapter 5, verse, I'm gonna start at 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord.
Right, so these people that think the day of the Lord is gonna be like this wonderful event. It's not, man. Go ahead.
To what end is it for you?
Right, because a lot of people are gonna die on that day, man. It's gonna be a bloody, violent day. And the days that lead up to it. The Lord is not coming back to high five people, man.
That's right.
It's not gonna be the bulls come out and say in the long comment, Jesus Christ. He gonna run down and high five everybody. That's not gonna happen, man. He coming back with a sword in his hand. He told you that. He said, I will not come back this time. I will not greet thee as a man. All right? Get that scripture I called for, brother.
It says the day of the Lord is darkness and not light.
It's darkness and not light. All right? Even this dude know who the Edomites are, but we don't even drive by Israelites.
I got that Daniel.
Right. Yeah, get that Daniels, brother.
This is Daniel 12 and 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up,
Right?
the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people.
Right. So Michael's gonna stand up for the children of thy people, which is the 12 tribes of Israel, not the Jewish. Remember, the suffix ish means to be like. Jewish people are not Israelites. All right? The people over in the land of Israel are not the Israelites. I got news for you. You didn't get the memo, you just got it. Okay, go ahead.
And there shall be a time of trouble.